Hey, what's up, gang? This is the Pregame Show Network. I am Tolly Carr. Uncle Neely joining us now from Jackson, Mississippi. Hey, Neely, this week as we talk right now, people might watch this content a little later, but we've been through the whole upfront presentations by the major networks and the major streaming platforms. And that's basically where they go to New York and they present all of their programming for this fall, for this summer, everything that they have coming up, all their big programming, their big announcements. So advertisers can see what's going on and figure out, where they want to spend their money, what they want to support, and get everyone excited. I have done my research base level. Maybe I missed the name or something. But Neely, the only college football coach that I have seen involved in these upfronts in person on stage has been Deion Sanders. Now, if I missed something, please correct me. But I read through Sports Business Journal and I Googled this stuff. But we can say for sure that Deion Sanders was a big part of the Fox Sports upfront presentation. And Neely, I think it brings it home. A couple of weeks ago, the people out there, the critics, the haters, the whatever we want to call them. I know people get in their feelings if you call them a hater. But they thought they had Deion Sanders snared, Neely. They thought the cancel police had got him. They thought that the people in the portal was a true indicator that, nobody wants to be around this. Oh, it's a clown show. Oh, it's this. Neely, the money is still calling. The people are still, the gravitational pull is there. Deion Sanders, he's representing Colorado. He's a brand within himself. The major networks are putting him out on stage in front of the advertisers. Hey, we got prime time. He remains an economy within himself.
I love that. I absolutely love that. An economy within himself. We have said ad nauseum on this network, man. We talked about what all that Coach Prime brings to the table. No other coach in America, NFL, college, I don't care if it's middle school in West Jackson, no other coach in America brings to the table what he brings, coaching-wise and the ancillary things that come along with it. Just an amazing gravitational pull to marketing, to broadcasting, to journalism, to the business community. And as that relates to NIL and collectives, you just can't put a measure on it. And you talk about that economy, when that dollar follows him and it stays in the community where he is, the restaurants and hotels that are booming in Boulder. And what follows him more than anything is eyeballs. And advertisers know that if eyeballs are following him, I need to put my brand somewhere near it. So when you look right out the gate, Thursday night in August 29th, here are the Colorado Buffaloes on TV by themselves. You fast forward some 10 days later on NBC, Saturday Night Football, college football. Here the Colorado footballs are playing before a national audience again 2 weeks in a row to open up the season. That doesn't happen if Deion Sanders is not the head coach. And people recognize that folks want to see Coach Prime. They want to see the product he's put together. They love the storylines with it. And so eyeballs are going to follow it. You want to put a cherry on top of all that, Tolly? Season 3 has been renewed for the documentary to take place again in Colorado. So for the next 12 months, everywhere you turn, every channel you see, you're going to see Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and the Colorado Buffaloes football team.
Neely, what do we always say? People do not lie about what they want. You can go back to last year. You can look at the viewership numbers. That game that was on ESPN, it was, good Lord, it was on to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. Colorado State, record viewership. Fox and what they have done with Big Noon Kickoff. Colorado's been a big part of that. They were have been a big challenge to ESPN in their college game day, in a show that people have been like, well, that can't beat them, can't beat ESPN. Fox made a lot of ground up last year, and Colorado was a big part of that. Heck, Neely, both shows were there at the same time. So my larger point is when people are like, oh man, y'all got too much cameras, there's too much access, there's too much outside stuff going on. Neely, it's all working together to come back. Look, maybe the bottom line isn't the dollar. I mean, I know you want to win games, obviously, but it's a business. And the business part is working. the wins weren't where you wanted them last year, but we've been through this. Play here, play there, and then this year they'll get the opportunity to correct that ship. But when you offer the criticism of everything there is so wrong and you shouldn't be doing this, it's not added. The math ain't mathing when you look at these upfront presentations, when you look at these shows being renewed, and everything that's generated from that.
Man, imagine Coke and Pepsi showing up at the same place at the same time, and it wasn't a trick. Like they both wanted to be there. That doesn't happen. You had big noon kickoff and college game day on the same campus at the same time, wanting to be there because they know Coach Prime is big enough that we can all get a piece of this at the same time. So I'm not going to acquiesce to the other guy. That's just what he brings to the table, man. And going forward, you're going to see more and more of it. I don't think you can have too many cameras in every regard, particularly with NIL and collectors being such a major part of recruitment now. The kids, student athletes want to be able to show off their own brand. What better place than in Boulder, Colorado? But what it adds to is that it adds for the opponents. If you are the opponent playing Colorado, your game is going to be on TV. I mean, so you look at it this way. People talk about that how long it's been since Colorado football has played on a Saturday night or Saturday on NBC. Same thing can be said for Nebraska. But they're not on that TV because they're Nebraska. They're on that TV because they're playing the Colorado Buffaloes, whose head coach is Deion Sanders. Same thing for North Dakota State, down a division, opening up the weekend on ESPN on a Thursday night because of who their opponent is. So Coach Prime preaches, man, all the time that the spotlight is going to be on me and thereby on you too. But keep in mind, it's going to also show the blemishes. So everybody has to be ready for this opportunity, whether it is the Big 12 as a conference, whether it is the Colorado Buffaloes under Coach Prime or the opponents. Everybody's shine is going to get brighter. A rising tide lifts all boats. This guy's a moving economy, and the economy moves with him. So when he comes to your town, make sure you got enough burgers to sell, enough steaks to sell, enough margarita mix and all that, because everything sells out when Deion Sanders shows up in your town.
And a couple of things, Neely. I think back to Jackson State when, Jackson State, and they got a lot of exposure, but it was still a lot of, ESPN Plus, ESPN2. But Coach Sanders has kept the standard, what he wanted. I think he made the joke, look, we don't want to be on ESPN 16. He was saying we want to be on the main channel when he was at Jackson State. So he is never, no matter where he has been, he has never lowered that standard of exposure, publicity, and the understanding of what that does and the value of the programs he's been associated with.
And also been an advocate for doing your own thing in that regard. When you look at the Pregame Show Network, when you look at Well Off Media Reach the People, when you look at Smack Entertainment and what they're doing on Amazon Prime, this is all because of, hey, man, we want to be partners with all these other folks. We want to make sure that eyeballs are seeing us, but we're not going to just forego that we can't control that narrative ourselves and produce our own content and put it out. So you're going to see him with that message continue from Jackson State all the way to Boulder, Colorado, that, hey, we want to be on the big networks. We want to let you in and let you see. But guess what? If you don't see it, we're going to show it anyway. And so when people see the numbers of the Amazon Prime documentary, when they see the numbers of the 3 internal content creators channels, man, they want a part of that. They understand that there's a bigger audience out there and more reach. And so folks want to partner with it. So I'm not surprised to see a lone head coach, active head coach in college football be a part of a kickoff media campaign because that media campaign is going to centralize and circulate around him just like the planets orbit around the sun, man. He's got the gravitational pull. He's got the juice now, as they said in the movie Juice, and he's had it since 1986, and I don't see him spilling a drop, Tolly. So you might as well get in where you fit in because it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, so at that Fox up front, Jamie Foxx was there. Coach Prime was really elated to see him. They go back, but looks like they hadn't seen each other in a while. Now, we all know Jamie Foxx had some health issues in the last year or so that were, everybody was talking about it, but it was still a very private situation, not understanding what was going on. Tom Brady was there, Gronkowski, Derek Jeter, Alex Rodriguez, Coach Prime. So look, these were the heavyweights of big names when it comes to professional sports that were there. Neely, another thing that we kind of think about here is despite all of people relate because we always see life through our own sensibilities. So if cameras showed up at my house and followed me around everywhere, I might feel like, God, that would be chaotic. That would turn my life upside down. But all of Coach Prime's programs, whether it be Jackson State, whether it be Colorado, it's not like discipline left. It's not like chaos entered. There was exposure, and then there's still this high level of accountability. Nothing suffered because of the other.
Absolutely not. I think a lot of times people look through things from their lens, look at things through their lens and from their vantage point, and can't really appreciate someone else's experience in a different regard. So, what may be a distraction to you is welcoming to other people. What is utter chaos for the fly is perfect harmony for the spider. It just depends on your vantage point. And, when you look at Coach Prime, the kids he's coached, whether it's his own children all the way up through Truth to Jackson State to Colorado, you get used to cameras being around. It's absolutely not a distraction. In fact, it becomes a welcoming thing. When the cameras are not there during the off season, people look around like, oh man, I missed the film crew because they become part of the family. So when you look at that Smack production crew with Prime, you look at what I do with the Pregame Show Network and Reach the People and Will Off Media, we're just parts of the program. And it's not a distraction. It's a welcoming thing because people know being able to frame your own narrative, show your own story, and it being done by someone you trust and value the credibility of their work. Tali, the last thing it is a distraction. It is an incentive. People love it. When student athletes come via the portal or recruitment visits, they seek us out like, oh man, I've been watching y'all stuff. Couldn't wait to get here because I see what you put out there. Content is king, and as you said, Tali, people don't lie about what they want. People don't lie about what they like. If they're lining up to get it, it's got some value to it. And the line to showcase or produce content in and around Colorado football and Coach Prime, that line goes around the block. It must be something to it.
We keep saying this, and we've been saying it for the last few years, but every time I say it aloud, it still amazes me. Neely, you leverage this into a full-time job. Well Off Media is a full-time job for an individual. Reach the People Media is a full and you all are doing the same thing differently, and you've all created full-time jobs for yourself because of this opportunity. When Coach Prime went to Colorado, you and I knew better than a lot of people. Look, there's going to be small publishers who are going to now have resources that they didn't have before. They're going to have viewership that they didn't have before. The local newspaper is going to get a boost. The local TV stations are all going to get a boost. And this is that pull. This is that energy that's coming from one person and is spreading out. And it is an economy. Like, it's not hyperbole. It's a total economy for a variety and a large group of people.
You and I got this gray hair, so we use words like hyperbole. Some of our younger audience out there would say no cap. It ain't no cap, Tom. Like, this is what it is. There's no exaggeration, no hype. When you said he's an economy unto himself, that economy has spinoffs and sub-economies to it. It's like when you got a car manufacturing plant, they got to get the pieces and parts to that car for somebody else. So when you got the Nissan plant, you got 15 suppliers around the plant that feed the main plant so they can produce the car. It's the same thing in this Coach Prime cottage industry with the content creators around him, whether they are internal and have that kind of access or not. There are people out there who created a business off re-airing our content. Like, this is a real thing with real numbers and real opportunity. And Coach Prime gets that more than anybody else. I will always repeat to people that we remember his 14 years in the NFL that resulted in a gold jacket and a bust in Canton, Ohio. But you cannot forget his 14 years as a broadcaster journalist. This is the guy who got Marshawn Lynch to say, "I'm just about that action, boss." This is a guy who's done all kinds of interviews with his peers on the sideline and had debates on the desk. He gets branding, marketing, and how that marries content and journalism. And so even when you follow his Instagram page, his social media, He understands how to get the attention of people, keep that attention, and he does it all while keeping the main thing, not making the main thing a distraction or something else. He's always focused on football and winning. And speaking of winning, Tolly, everything that you just said about this economy, all that's happening in and around Deion Sanders, what do you think is going to happen to that environment when the wins start piling up, when the bowl games happen and the national championship happen? We're barely scratching the surface of this thing.
Now, imagine Neely if he decided to show up as a college football coach or show up at Colorado with the polo and some khakis. And all he said was, hey, we're going to give 110%. We're going to work hard. No cameras. Rat poison. Imagine what that experience could have been like, which some people are cheering for and suggesting that's how you should run a program, versus the level of access, the gregariousness, if I said that right. I think I might have done that right. How it is, because not very few coaches really want to do it this way.
Hey, I love the word gregarious, and I'm gonna allow you to add ness on the end of it. And I know if we're wrong, they're gonna let us know in the comments because they always
it was a reach. I was reaching the people in a different way.
Yeah, I'm gonna co-sign gregariousness. But you're exactly right, Tyler. And I gotta let me underscore it with this: all done while being uniquely himself. When you see him in those overalls, and you see him, and he's grown out the gray beard for a week or so, and you see him dancing, to the pre-practice music and interacting with players, he does that when the cameras aren't on. He does that when the cameras are there. This guy is so comfortable in his own skin. It doesn't matter if he's the only black guy in the room or a room full of black guys. He is always himself. He is always, you get what you see what you get. And I think that's why people are drawn to it. He is in this space where there's no code switching. He's not going to have to get along to go along, or go along to get along, or scratch when he ain't itching, or shuck when he should be jiving. He is uniquely himself. He is always himself and unapologetic about it, and goes about his business doing what he wants to do every day. And that's having impact in the lives of young people. And I think people recognize that genuineness in him. And that's what brings back that gregarious nature and cause that gravitational pull to folks, including cameras, including advertisers and brands, wanting to associate and be around him.
And look, not everybody can pull this off. And if you try to be like that and it wasn't you, we all would be able to sniff that out. But man, I really hope that this opens up doors for people to be more comfortable with who they are, if they like who they are. Some people are trying to hide from themselves, Neely. But man, nothing rings true like authenticity. I say this a lot of times about, just content in general. Like, people might not know how you make content or the best way to put it all together. But man, when it's fake, like, people know that. And I really hope this opens up many, many doors. And he's talked about that being, one of the things that, he hopes is an end result as well. Maybe not the main thing that he's worried about every single day, but would be a very welcomed unintended consequence, if you will.
I think that's absolutely spot on. I think he does recognize it, and he's articulated that to you and I in private talks with him. And I think you see that manifest in the way he carries himself. But that all starts, or grows, I should say, from winning. Coach Prime understands that for him to win, what that opens up the opportunity for other people like him. And not only other people like him and say their racial makeup, but they get to be themselves. So many times when you're a minority in a situation, you have to conform. You have to be like those in charge or those around you and carry yourself like that, not for your comfort, but for theirs. And winning changes that, Tolly. If you get a black guy being a black guy and enjoying his blackness, and he wins doing it, watch how many programs around the country are not going to mind a head coach having a beard, not going to mind a head coach, dancing to music with his team or having entertainers as guests. Winning changes a lot of things. And when Coach Prime adds to these 4 wins, going from 1-win program to a 4-win program, and now he's 8 and 10 wins in bowl games and national championships, you're going to see it open the door for many more people who look like him, and not only look like him, who have the opportunity to be themselves while they do the job.
Hey, Neely, we got to get that beard bias out of here. I don't know what's going on with that, but beard bias is not the way.
You know, man, in my corporate America days, I was the only one with the beard, and you can see that glass ceiling. Even though it's translucent, it was there. It's only so far you're gonna move up. You got all that facial hair.
Well, I might go home and shave, Neely. Got a little stubble going on. I don't want to be susceptible to beard bias. I'm gonna go back. Go back to my 1990 Magic Johnson.
I think that'll be my next sweatshirt or hat, man. Stop beard bias.
There you go. I'll give you that one for free because you're my man. I'll give it to you for free. When you talk about sweatshirts, when you talk about hoodies, when you talk about specs and hats, Neely always brings it. Goonsville, what you got going on today? Neely, full screen, Neely.
Goonsville Clothing. These two young brothers, Hispanic brothers in Boulder, Colorado area, put together a small business, won a business plan award for division for their company, got some funding and support, met them. And while I was, getting ingrained in Boulder, it's like, hey man, I like what y'all doing. I like your hustle. Send me some sweatshirts. I'm gonna rock it. Goonsville Clothing. Hey man, ain't nothing like when it's goon time, it's goon time. Can't turn it off, can't turn it on. You either goon or you ain't.
Well, I hope the good brothers at Goonsville are watching, and I hope they noticed how I so eloquently set you up to talk about Goonsville. I mean,
I'm reminded of when Dwayne Wade was going out of bounds and did that, and LeBron just hammered that thing in Miami. Like, perfect pass, perfect setup. You, Tolly Carr, you, not John Stockton, not Magic Johnson. You are the assist leader.
Well, thank you. I had to buy this Nike. You know what I mean? Like I'm all for free 99. I'm just saying.
Free 99 is my favorite.
I'm just saying. All right. It is the Pregame Show Network, the new look just for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can visit our website, thepregameshow.com. Make sure that you follow us on all social media. You know your man, Uncle Neely, is going to take care of you. From Atlanta, I'm TC. We'll see you guys around the way.